You're talking about Dave Fryer.
Yeah, we experimented with single fin or twin fin, and we shaped one of these boards, and of course at that point in time nobody knew where twin fins went or how they should have been fitted up.
Right,
so it was like it was a new thing.
Yeah.
2 fins on the board instead of single fin, and we had this big wide swallowtail board. There was no flies or nothing on it, no wings, just a big wide swallowtail. This was one of the first fish type boards.
Yeah.
And experimented with where the fin should be. And eventually, both of us agreed it went better with a big single fin. But it was after that we learned about doing the V's and the concaves and the flukes and all of that
and towing the fins in.
And towing the fins in, and the angles, and then the shapes of the fins, and all of those things were all relevant to, the way the board should perform. And of course, Simon Anderson was really clever because he came up with 3 of them on it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Which was the first
It's
thruster.
really funny about talking about Dave with the twin fins there, because we were talking about a trip when we went to Ireland in '72, and he only had his 511 stubby twin fin. Remember the sort of squash tail, but really wide squash tail, and the fins were basically on the point of the tail. Remember those?
Yeah, right.
And we had a Spanish point that were 8 foot, just barreling, and I only had a 6 foot. No, I had a 5 foot 10 little round tail or something like that. And I couldn't handle it. Like Dave did, he's obviously good enough because I hadn't surfed waves tubey like that before. But it was just barreling.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that stuff was done by feel, wasn't it? Like you wrote it, you tried it, you worked it out, and you come up with other stuff, and you sort of then modified it, and you found, oh yeah, this works, And the same thing with longboards, and then putting side bites on them, and other combinations of setups on longboards. And I played around with putting at the beginning of the 90s. Other setups onto longboards, and produced a 4-fin longboard, which was meant to go to Glenn Winton, who was the first pro, obviously the first pro who rode a 4-fin on in professional contests.
Yeah.
So
loved the 4-fins. Oh God, they were good. They fly. They go so fast. They just.
Well, now with wave riding, right? The 4-fin thing becomes a real thing to have because they project and goes faster along these clean, fast sections, which is created, perfectly created, if you like. Where when you had lumpier surf or surf that was like influenced by the wind and all that sort of stuff, then you had to, you'd be manoeuvring accordingly. And of course, you had these dead spots and the heights, what position you were on the face of the wave, and all that stuff, and the difference of riding off the rail and getting lots of speed, and doing long curvy turns as opposed to snappy stuff, which the thruster is done. And it's just snappy stuff that everybody has learned to ride, and so you've had a dominance of 3-fin boards for 30 years, basically. Now they're trying to reinvent it by just putting 4 fins on 3-fin boards.
Well, it's not going to work.
And it's not going to work.
The only guy who's getting away with it is Kelly Slater, because he's thought of his bottom design.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can see guys riding 4 fins, the pros, and they're having fun in them, sort of thing. Yeah. But you can see them; they're slipping on it. You don't see Slater slipping on his 4-fin.
No.
It grips. The rail works with the fins.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not the.
It's rail. Let's get back to rail riding. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of all these flick, sort of stall turns, which is what the thruster did.
Yeah.
And yet, out of all the modern surfing, I've yet to see, going through the various different boards that Carwin rode, I've yet to see anybody do a slide back down the face and do a 360. You go up the wave and then you slide back down, and then you do a 360, and you go the direction the wave is breaking, which is what Carwin did.
Yeah,
do it all the time.
Yeah.
He would drop. He'd come through the section.
It's like a Rio fix. real fakey 180 sort of thing.
That's right, yeah. And it's like going up the wave to a aerial, and he wouldn't. He'd sort of like he'd changed position. He'd dig the rail, and the board would go. You would stall. Instead of going up to the lip, it would stall, and then he'd slide back down. And as it came back down, he'd get the back fin in, and he could do a 360.
All right. Yeah.
And he did that
Oh,
all the
Carl-
time.
Carl
And
was
he used
a-
to say
Carl
to
was
Colin, how do you work that one out? So he goes, what? Just did it. Well, I just do
Well,
it.
boy.
That's the wave, and that's what you do them, you know.
Excellent.
So all of that stuff, it's like, I don't know, all the professional surfing now seems to be trained for, you know, and all the guys have to go do that stuff. You have all the trick stuff, but now people are looking for new things to do.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so much money behind all the professional surfing now that it's a bit like you've got
A good thing with the
Look.
WSL at the moment is they're starting to get back to the importance of rail surfing. You know, they're marking a huge
putting the
rail
contest
cutback.
into natural wave conditions.
Yeah.
And having the contest up there and creating a circuit for younger guys to come through. And you've got to get to that point where you've got enough points that you can complete. Is becoming quite good, which is like league
from
stuff.
Wales have gotten.
Yeah, well, it's,
onto the
it's
circuit.
Patrick and what's his Logan?
Yeah, and this girl,
Yeah,
Alice.
yeah, Alice Barton. Yeah,
She's really
the
good.
surfing. I watch them all the time.
Unfortunately,
When,
Alice,
when it's streamed, you know, the Azores was great. He had a good result in the Azores.
I mean, Alice has had to join the English team
Yeah,
because there's no
getting no support.
support from
it's
Wales.
ridiculous.
It's
Ridiculous,
awful.
isn't it?
Yeah, I've spoken to other people, you know, to roll in, you know, but to do what we originally invented in Wales, it's all been passed by. I had an interesting conversation with a politician in the recent elections, and it was like he was sort of like, oh yeah, and we've got a really good girl called Alice that surfs in Wales. And I said, yeah, I said, but why is she surfing in England?
Mhm.
Nobody in Wales has picked up on it. Why isn't South Wales? It's the first surfing centre, and why
And
did it lose
so
its
highly populated?
wave machine?
So many people
opportunity.
surfing.
Yeah.
Far more than Cornwall, in a way.
Oh yeah, more local people
had-
surfing, I think.
local,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a shame. I mean, I've had conversations with Peter as well, because Denzel was, you know, he was the first one. WSF, you know, he got it. You know, all those sort of lifeguarding duties and getting an emergency phone down at Three Cliffs near the chalet was really important. And he did lifeguarding before there was. It was like something that somebody did, you know, because he saw the dangers
It
involved.
needed to be done.
And it needed to be done, yeah. He was that sort of a guy.
Denzel,
And we even got Prince of Wales as a patron for the Welsh Surfing Federation.
Oh, you went surfing a couple of times, didn't you, that boy?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did so.
Don't think you surfed a refill.
And there's a picture of the group of them going up to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, I got that one. I got one of my house.
dragging Rollin round Burton's or somewhere.
Yeah,
to
right.
try-
Yeah,
try
Burton's.
and get him a suit.
Rollin, he looks like he's in a Burton suit, doesn't he?
Because he didn't know anything.
So we actually have all that stuff, and sort of like, well, I've said to a lot of people, you know, we should be, you know, this is the history of Wales, surfing in Wales. It's got to be, you know, that's the generality of how time it started. There was nowhere else in Wales where anybody surfed. It was done on the Gower, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame that we haven't got that recognition yet. But
But it's always been bloody Newquay, isn't it? You know.
well,
It's a super height place, you know,
Newquay.
and I think we're much too laid back to push ourselves forward because we're too busy surfing and having fun.
Well,
maybe.
yeah. Well, there's if you take the Welsh thing, was that you always did this, and this was what was part of your way of life.
Yeah.
It's like when all these guys that play rugby, like, you know, it's only just becoming influenced by professionalism, and they do it because they can earn good money. But there's chances of other sports they could have been doing. So, all this sort of stuff, because the Welsh football now is up there, all of that. It's money that does that eventually, and it's a shame that the money that...
I think the councils are slowly waking up to
Yeah, they're slowly
surfing,
waking up to it.
whereas they didn't. In Newquay, the council made a lot of money, haven't they, off this back of surfing?
Yeah, bloody right.
Whereas surfing was a bit of an antisocial
Yeah,
thing
great.
in Wales, and now it's not.
Yeah.
I think,
Newquay had
take that DIY programme with Ben.
Yeah,
I mean, that's given it profile down in Caswell.
yeah, that's right. But there's been a lot of changes, and of course in how surfing is done, the inventions in manufacturing, how I don't see that those have travelled forward, and all new designs have been redone and re-evaluated.
I'll bring in a point of contention. It was that I think Wales was the most innovative part of Britain for the evolution of surfing.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TJ's got his phone out when he comes and he goes, "When did you do this?" And he's taking pictures and portraits. And he wanted to show his son, because his son, that when he came to visit us, his son was working in California for Lost.
Yeah.
See? And the big thing in California was they were trying to reinvent the twin fin. and any twin fin, they were analysing, and all the young guys were going, "We've got to do the twin fin thing," because it's like, we've got to find out why MR did so well with the twin fin.
Yeah.
Why, Wayne Lynch did twin fin sort of stuff.
Yeah. I remember I had a yellow 511 Bruce Palmer twin fin.
Twin fin, yeah.
And then I sold it to Fred just after he came back from Morocco, and that was when I started working with Craig and Terry down in Mandala.
Yeah.
And Craig made me a new Twinnie, and well, it was basically an MR copy, but a real one, a true one,
Yeah.
And I got on it, and it was like sort of stepping on a magic carpet, like. Already the Bruce Palmer twin fin used to fly, but this one was like, whoa! It's like it's oiled,
This one now that I've just done for Breslau, you see, 4 channels. 4 channels and concaves and flutes and suddenly it's gone. I'm saying, well, this is what I want to do. We're calling this the Superfish.
Yeah.
And then I went, I can't. I wanted to call it Flying Fish, and then I realised that Mark MR had actually done a Flying Fish model, you see, which I'd never seen. Didn't see any of them. I spoke to Rollin, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've got one." See, and I said, "Well, let me have a look at it." See, and the Flying Fish was like a longer version that MR did. See. And so I went, "Oh well, that's no good, is it? So I'll just call it Superfish." See, so I did this for President, and President wrote it, and he comes back and he said, "I'm not sure about the position of the back fin." He said, "It's not far forward enough, it's too stiff." And I went, "No." But I said, "You wanted to ride this as a thruster and a 2.5, see? Or a twin fin." So I said, it was originally designed as a twin fin. But not only that, the FCS System 2 that he wanted in the board, because he had spent over £1,000 on different selection of fins from FCS, all System 2 fittings, see? So he wanted these in the board, see? And it was then the revelation hit me. I realised that they designed the fin on flat bottom boards. So you can't do anything. You can't do any design that influences the way the fins go in the board.
Oh, shit.
Because it has to be done on flat boards. There's not enough leeway to sand,
really
to
thin.
sand
You
any
can't-
curves
no.
or they've all got to be straight
Yeah.
where the fins are. See?
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Just all
That
you
was
need
to
is a
protect-
little bit more thickness, right?
Presumably that's to protect their copyrights, and so that sort of like, but it's done on a mass production system, see, and nobody on the mass production system is interested in doing lots of fiddly stuff because it makes the production too slow and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that's ridiculous, because if you got the wrong rake...
And the same thing applies to the American system. So the what do they call that one?
We've
Where
set...
where they've all used like a box type insert.
Yeah.
See, but again they've reinforced the boxes and stuff to go in the board, but you can't. Again, they have to be done in a flats because you can't sand a bit out of it.
No.
It's got to be inserted into the foam before you
I
laminate.
remember the old boxes we used to have. We used to have at least an eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch sticking out the
Sticking
board,
out, so you could
sand it to the
reshape
shape of the board.
Yeah, exactly. And where the tail area is and where the fins are set up, there's concaves, there's V's, there's flutes, there's all sorts of stuff you do, and all of that influences how the board travels through the order.
Yeah, of course it does.
You can make a board go much faster, or you're going to make a board slow down. What type of wave, how fast do you want to go on it, and all that sort of stuff. So, and of course, by changing the fins, which you've got a changeable system in it, then you can make the board feel different and do different things.
Yeah,
so
right,
you can
cool.
vary it for the types of waves that you encounter.
Yeah.
Because some waves are really steep and very steep, and very snappy and fast breaking, and then you get to another section, another type of waves that's really fat in the bottom and it only sort of curling and sort of peeling down the face, and that's different type of fin setup. So, and as you travel around the world, you want to be able to put it in the board and adjust the fin rather than having a different board that you've got to get out. But so it's not good. I don't see the industry as being very innovative.
Well, not the
Slowly. I mean, the answer to it with a lot of older guys have gone, oh, well, just put fixed on fins on it.
and then you don't have anything to do.
Yeah, go back to grassroots and
go back to fixed fins.
learn what it was all about. See,
Yeah, and learn to surf.
for 30 years, there's been young guys who haven't learned how to or learn what's going on.
I
when
think
you make
the
a
only
board.
thing that removable fins and interchangeable fins have done for surfing is made indecisiveness,
Yeah,
because you're given a choice on how you can ride one board.
yeah.
And then you can't decide if it's good like that. Oh, I try it with another fin now.
Yeah.
I know it's good for that, but it's not good for that. So you haven't got any. You never learn to ride the board properly. As if it's got a fixed fin, then you know how the board goes.
That's it, yeah.
Then you're
That's
gonna
right.
then you're gonna get to ride it.
And maybe the detachable fins were good for travelling.
There's a lot of the boys now say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to change my fins." It's like, and for me, changing the fins is like changing the board.
Yeah.
But do they know why they're changing the fins? Yeah. I don't know.
So, but on Breslin's board now, he comes back. I had to change the FCS system and move the back box further up the board, which for me was just like a pain again. I had to take the back box out, move it up, got it working lovely. And he comes and I said, well, how's that board going? You realise you're a test pilot for me. I need the feedback. How's it going? And he says,
Realised you were writing the verbals.
I'm not sure yet. He said, I haven't worked it out. It goes so fast. It goes so fast. I think I have to be selective on the type of surf I take it in. He goes.
Excellent.
So I said, well, you've got to. I said, you do realise. I said, I've got a one-off. I said, this is a one-off board, experimental, and you're the test pilot. See? I said, welcome to the real world of surfing.
Welcome to evolution.
Yeah, welcome to evolution.